Hey YouTube, it's Matt with Loves Reptiles. We're going to continue introducing you to some of our animals. We're going to keep this short. This is also going to preview another thing I want to talk about. Usually we do these videos, I show you one animal. I can't do that this time. I'm going to have to show you three. So bear with me, it'll all make sense. We're also going to be showing you a few of our examples of something that's been happening a lot with this gene. Few people have in their collection. One guy, I want to say it's Circle A or Circle, I think it's Circle A. Serpents has been working to try to isolate it. It's something that we were seeing in our collection too. So we've talked to him just a little bit, not a whole lot. Appears to be probably looking at the same thing. Hopefully we can do an entire video on this, collaborating with them as well to share all that information. Because if it is the same, there is really no sense in one person going one route and me going another route and somebody else over here going this route and having three different things come out that's literally all the same thing. Too much that happens in this industry, and we spoke out against that a lot. So you got to put your money where your mouth is. So that's why if we see something we think is the same as what something we're working on, you know, we're going to try to collaborate that and all work it out. So anyway, there is that. Does that mean, I guess for full disclosure, that it absolutely is the same? No, we could start looking and actually find it is different. But I highly doubt that because this isn't really something that's new. This has been happening for a very long time. It's just never really been worked on to isolate. It's kind of odd. So I'm going to start by showing you my sisters, what I call these two girls. And we're going to start with this sister I want to start with. No. It's actually this sister I want to start with. So these are literally sisters. They are pastel axanthic females, all born from the same parents, both SK line. For size reference, that's several thousand grams. She's well over 2,000 gram female right there. I don't know her exact weight. I suppose I could get it if we need to. But this one is what you would expect a nice pastel axanthic to look like. You know, the grays and silver tones stay really well on a pastel axanthic. They're still going to darken with age, but when they darken to what you wanted the original axanthic to look like. So if you see a baby axanthic, good way to think about that color, you are wanting some, girl, is that is literally how, you know, they're almost kind of age back a shade. It's like when you look at an adult axanthic, they're typically not this silver, but the pastels are. So keep that there. Sometimes what happens in this SK line is they tend to do what's called going dark. And that means they'll be born looking just like a regular pastel axanthic or a regular axanthic or whatever morph axanthic you want to deal with. But they won't stay that way. They will literally turn darker with age. We're not really sure why this happens. You really can't see it as babies. Some babies turn quicker than others. We got one that's a hatchling that honestly we sold. We haven't been able to ship it yet because of weather, and I'll be damned if it's not turning dark. Probably should have kept that thing, but I already sold it, so I'm going to ship it. Somebody should be pretty happy, unless they don't like dark, but if it ends up being something cool and new, boy, aren't they going to be on the ground floor if it can be isolated. Hi, girl. I know. Can you keep her up there? I know you're doing double duty. So we have her sister, who happens to be one of these snakes that has gone dark. This is a pastel axanthic. Look at the vast difference. When they were born, they were the same. Same parents, clutch mates, both proven females. Just totally different, right? Totally different. This is also why you serial number your snakes. So if we can prove this, I can look back and see who her babies are and vice versa if there's another gene running around in there, however it isolates. Two vastly different animals, right? Dark's up top. Got to remember that. So I don't confuse them. Look at the heads. Now, when they were born, their heads were both super blushed, like you'd expect a pastel, then darkened up. This was kept some of that blushing. You can see that line, but the axanthic does change that. That one was just black. So very, very different in what's happening with these snakes. Now, what you like depends greatly on, your eye, right? Some people would not want their snake to go dark. So I've heard this kind of called dark phase. I've also heard it called, I think the newest name I've heard is, you ain't going to go in there, has been, oh, get out of my drawer, has been, what was it, not meteor.
Asteroid.
Asteroid, thank you. All kinds of different stuff. So, just how it goes. No, dark up top. So dark is 170601. I need to look at you. You look like you actually might be trying to ovulate on me, which would be freaking awesome. These are both being bred this year. This one's being bred to a killer zebra bee axanthic. This one's being bred to a super pastel fire head axanthic. Want to go in there? Come on. There you go, girl. Get in there. Have not seen that one lock. Have seen that one lock. So, before I show you the third one, on this, what do we really know? Not a whole lot, right? I can tell you a lot of my line, a little bit directly, a lot indirectly, like, you know, bought offspring from who bought, et cetera, has come from JD Constriction. Not all of it. I have parts of my line that also came from tall grass reptiles. I cannot tell you where theirs originally came from. I also have a little bit that came from Ben Siegel. And then I have a lot that came through bloodlines that John had established. One directly from him, some from ones that were offspring of his, that a guy purchased babies and made offspring. So like, but still from that bloodline, right? I also know that the other person who I've been talking to, we mentioned, theirs that have gone dark, I do also believe connect back to that bloodline. And as we all remember, John also has that really cool stormtrooper snake that connects back to that bloodline. Is this the same as that? I don't know. I don't think anybody really does yet. And I'm not claiming it is. You know, and I don't want to jump the shark and say, oh, this is that. Because that's not a proper thing to do. He still has more research to figure out what's going on there. And I don't know what he's doing with that animal. I don't know what that animal's been bred to. And I don't know everything he knows about that project. So for me to come out and say, oh, this is the same thing would be very, very premature. What I can say, and what I am willing to say, is that that animal, if you followed it from the beginning to the end, that made the Stormtrooper famous when it was born, it wasn't famous because all the dark black. It was famous because it was a super, super high contrast look, a really nice example of a combo morph that then turned dark as it aged. So that dark black on the top came later, which made the animal even more interesting. It went from, wow, look at this example of what this is, to, whoa, it's getting better, to, whoa, what the hell happened? It looks like, you know, there's black all over the top of it. So the melanin obviously increased. On these, the melanin appears to be increasing. However, I can say on the pastel axanthics that I've got those two, plus this one that Caleb brought into the collection.
Should be over here.
Is it over here?
For breeding.
Oh, is he breeding?
Yeah.
Damn it! Hopefully he's not locked up. He's not locked up. I shouldn't usually be happy about that, but today I am, because I want to show him to you. Now, when Caleb first got this snake, he was told it was a black pastel axanthic, and just kind of went with it, because look at it, you know. But when we bred it, and it produced, it did prove to be a pastel axanthic. So this is another example that has gone dark. I'd have to look to see if the offspring from this year is one of its offspring that's also gone dark. I don't remember. We may even pull that offspring out while we're talking about this. Die fly. Anyway, so with this, one thing I'll say that I noticed that makes me wonder, you know, if it's related or not, is when I look at this, these animals seem to have gone. Do you know where this one's bloodline comes from?
No.
No idea. Okay.
No.
Trying to cut a damn fly. They're dark all the way through. If you ever look at the Stormtrooper, it's really dark up here, and this has stayed white down through there. Now that could be part of the other genes involved in that is causing that, or it could be something different. It could be a one-off thing. Again, those are answers I don't have, and I'm not ready to claim anywhere remotely that these are the same thing. I want to be very clear about that. But there is obviously something to these animals going dark. And again, this has happened for a while. We're not the first ones. Oh, I bet they did lock. Look at that. He's got shit all over him. You know what, buddy? Go back in there. If you guys are into that kinky stuff, you may get it done, huh? Yeah. Go get you some, bud. Go get you some. But it's interesting. It's interesting. So I'm really, and again, this is not a video really about the gene that's kind of turned into that. But when I decided to show some of these animals off to get through these, I was like, man, I ought to show this one. But I also didn't want to show this pastel axanthic that's super dark and be like, yeah, this is kind of dark. Because if you don't know what you're looking at, you may think, God, that's a shitty example. I wanted to show that's not the case because I have its sister here. So I know they're from the same parent. Here's what's going on. Here's what's happened. So we might as well show what I went dark. While we're at it, let me go back here if I can find this baby really quick.
Farthest to the wall.
This wall?
Yep.
See, Caleb knows what
Fourth one from the bottom, I think. Fourth or fifth. Should say sold to Cindy Fetcher.
Just name dropping there, so anybody wants to, there it is.
Was I close?
You were, yeah. Nope, sticks up. And again, this is also a pastel axanthic. This one, I think, is the darkest one we have. And it went dark almost instantaneously, to the point that if you see that, you're like, Matt, that's not a pastel axanthic. You have to see it when it was born. It's definitely a pastel axanthic. It's just turning jet black. I don't have the answer as to why. Some of the things that'll tell you I'm not full of crap. Look at how much white there is in the sides. You're not going to see the head blushed out because it's still a little bit back there, but that's already going really dark. And they tend to still have a little bit of highlighting silver in a few places, like right there at the eye stripe, that'll stick around. And then you can just see like, this is all pretty typical of a pastel. Well, buddy, I know. But it's already turning dark. So, Cindy, I hope you like dark, because you're getting a dark one, man. Is this new? I don't know. Guys, I really don't know. Is this linked to Stormtrooper? Again, I don't know. This is a bunch of questions. Is this just something that will never isolate, that some axanthics do? That could very well be when the right... Because you got to remember, when we talk about, morphs and things like that, and this being on this allele, we get really into the this plus this equals this combo, and this plus this equals this, and this plus this equals this. A DNA strand, even in a fairly simple vertebrate animal, is long. It's long, okay? There's a lot of A's to T's and G's to C's and shit in there, okay? If you guys remember, it's long. It took us forever to decode the human genome. I don't even know if we finished yet. There's a lot of shit in there. So the point that I'm making is we very well could be dealing with something that this combines with axanthic and something you don't see is causing that we can't isolate because you'll never be able to see it. I mean, we could be dealing with something like that. That's just a simple one-off, or not really one-off, there's 4 of them here, that's out of control, though, from a visual genetic that you could look at and see. And we all have genes, if you think about it, that cause things that we can't see. It's easy to see genes that make you taller. It's easy to see genes that make you fatter. It's easy to see genes that change your eye color and your hair color. It's not so easy to see genes that maybe make your sperm count a little bit higher or a little lower. Or genes that maybe, make, I don't know why I'm stuck on reproduction, probably because it's breeding season, make ovaries kick out more eggs. Or genes that, cause infertility. Or genes that are precursors to cancer. These are all things we can't see that are in our genetics. Or genes that are precursors to... hopefully I don't have these, getting Alzheimer's and losing your proverbial shit. But they're in our genetics. It would be crazy to think they're not in their genetics. And sometimes genes can come together that can't be seen, that can cause issues or cause another visual thing. And we have that in human beings as well, that pop up. So that could be what we're dealing here. It could be something that can't be isolated. I've got 2 other animals that have also gone dark that are both het axanthic. I'll pull one of those out for you. I might put this one back. And they're not visual axanthic. They're a het axanthic, and they're also, let me think here, a het ghost. And they're dark as hell. One of them's got a spider gene in it and makes it harder to see. This one, though, does not have spider. How you feeling, girl? Now, for full disclosure, oh, come on, baby girl. We need to clean your cage out, too, huh? Because you're in your prelay right now, I think. You just shed and went right back into it. But you can see this is a very, very dark animal. This is not an axanthic animal. Okay, this is just an animal that carries het axanthic and turns super dark. If you look close, you'll still see that even as dark as she is, there's a little bit of the brown tones of a normal ball python in there, which is kind of a greenish brown. Hers are much darker, but she does kind of have an axanthic look because she's so dark. But I promise you, she's not. I wish she was, because my odds would be a lot better, but I've bred her enough times to know what exactly is in here. And all it is a double het that I produce myself. That is het axanthic, het go. So why did she turn dark? I don't know. It could be whatever we were talking about, hitting that het axanthic and causing that dark, but you won't ever be able to see or know when it's going to happen very well. Or you won't be able to see it, and it's not allelic, because if it was a allelic gene to axanthic, then we could not make an axanthic that went dark. It'd either be a go dark or an axanthic. Obviously, we can do axanthic that go dark. So it has to be 2 separate genes that would be at play, but when they work together, wherever it causes, this is what you get. So anyway, I showed you a little more than I anticipated. I kind of love this snake. Hopefully David Whalen's watching this, because every time I get this snake out, that dude contacts me and gets wood. David, if I ever get rid of this thing, I'll call you first, buddy. Not going to probably happen, though. So anyway, Caleb, any questions about, we showed more animals than we intended to, and a little bit about what this is going on with this, dark phase / meteor / I originally called this one the darkness, just because it was dark. But we kind of wrote this off because we've produced so many offspring with her and never produced another one that went dark. And we bred her to her brother, who also has a dark face to it. And I produced visual ghosts with it. And I produced visual axanthics with it, and even a visual true ghost with it. And have yet to see one go dark. So I don't, it's obviously not as simple as just two darks make a dark axanthic. Anything else you want to add?
Nope, because I was going to ask about the darkness, and you already got her out, so I am good on that.
Yeah, I thought she needed to be shown here. I was going to save her for her own video, but we'll go ahead and give you the dot of I already showed you off, because you're cool. This one is going to have babies again, or at least I should say have eggs again. She's already ovulated this year, and this will be her shed she's going into. That will be the pre-lay. You can look at how big her back end is. Her, just for a second, girl, so we can show the good people at home. Her ovulation's already gone back down. And so now we're getting into that. You can still see a little bit of swelling back there, but not like it was. We're going to that shed phase. The other thing with this animal too, I don't know if the camera will pick it up, and it's not like a Brazilian rainbow or anything here, but they do get, when they're that dark, an iridescence to them. That is not present in these non-darker animals. And I don't think it's something special. It's just when you get that dark, you tend to get that in snakes. You can kind of get that iridescence picked up. A lot of people think it gives it kind of a bluish look on some of the axanthic stuff. To me, it's more of an iridescence. Anything else, Caleb?
Nope.
I'm going to put this girl back so she can go back to cooking what's in her. I know, girly. I don't usually mess with you guys too much when you're in this process, but you're still going to get cleaned anyway this week. I know you don't want to, but it is what it is. You pooped in there. Yeah, all over in there. Come on, all the way. I said all the way. Well, wait a second. All right, well, that's all you got. Then we're going to go over to Patreon and talk about what our plans are with this project, how it's going to affect Patreon, and we will catch you all later.